Can you believe that the hybrid wars have become mainstream on paleontology YouTube? This massive trend started when Goji Guy created his monstrosity Hank. After Hank got hanked, hundreds upon hundreds of creators, even thousands maybe, tried to create their hybrids of their own to defeat the pale pestilence. We saw Dangerville trying to challenge Goji Center by creating Primatus Rex. You all know how that went. Madly Mesozoic with his righteous beast Samson. Myself creating Hadrosaur Lucy, since there's a Crocodilian Lucy. Hardy Maximus with his Hadrosaur Gilgamesh. Zion Reborn with his bird Maddie. Creature Archives with his insect Apollyon. And so many more. And so, Goji Center allowed the community to show off their hybrids in an attempt to defeat the so-called Indominus 2.0. Goji Guy even expanded the arena to the water with Vex. The hybrid war's popularity had reached new heights. But those videos, they all have something in common. They want to destroy either Indominus 2.0 or Vex. And it's gotten a little boring. So what if our hybrid's mission was not to kill the 2.0 or Vex, but rather be as invasive as possible? Something whose sole mission is to destroy an ecosystem with nothing else in between. And so, with the help of people here in the Forge, this is what I'm going to do today. And also, shout out to this guy for being the main brain of this hybrid. This is the same guy who made this hybrid that was put in the honorable mention, so you know things are going to get spicy. But without further ado, let's begin. As Goji Center said,
when building a hybrid, step number 1 is always choosing a base genome. This base genome is largely going to establish how large and what body type your hybrid will mostly resemble.
Words of wisdom, my friend. Words of wisdom. To create a hybrid, you must have a base to start from. And the base is none other than one of the most notorious invasive insects in history. Drumroll, please. The locust. Not just any locust, however. The giant locust from Jurassic World Dominion. And I'm well aware that this is a hybrid of prehistoric locust and the desert locust, but hey, it's a gigantic locust anyway, so we're still going to be using. This thing is absolutely massive. What makes this an excellent choice is that, besides being absolutely huge, it can fly and has a swarm mentality. I mean, have you seen that scene where the locusts just absolutely ravage a farm? Another thing is that locusts can switch their flight traits and energy metabolism patterns in response to alteration in their population. Solitary ones have more active flight muscle energy metabolism than gregarious ones, meaning that they can fly faster initially, while the latter can fly a longer distance at a relatively lower speed. This allows the locust to be incredibly deadly and consume stuff fast, whether they are by themselves or in swarms, perfect for its goal of being invasive. The Dominion locust is also already impressive, but I fear that may not be enough. We have 9 contributors to add on to the giant locust to enhance its ability to invade ecosystems. Remember, our goal is to destroy one as quickly as possible. So, the first contributor is a small but destructive eater, the Globitermes sulphureus, a species of termite. Termites are famous, or rather infamous, for their wood digestion ability. Another thing to know about this termite is that it can explode itself as a final act to defend its colony in a process called autophasis. This ensures that our locust can now digest wood and can sacrifice itself to ensure that other locusts can survive and eat more wood. This will be supplemented by another bug known as the Asian longhorn beetle. Adult females of this species chew a small pit through the bark of the host tree to the cambium and lay an egg underneath the bark of each pit. Throughout the beetle's life cycle, she can lay 45 to 62 eggs. This tree-burrowing behavior, combined with the wood-eating perks of the termite, ensures that our hybrid can digest trees and reproduce and grow inside them. The third contributor is one of the most viral flies in the world, one that is renowned for the death of almost 1 million people each year. The mosquito. The mosquito is added for a specialized mouth part called the proboscis, which consists of 6 stylets that work together to pierce the skin, locate blood vessels, and suck blood. The proboscis also contains a labrum, which acts as a sheath for stylets. Mosquitoes secrete anticoagulant saliva containing anophelin and aldoserpin, which inhibit blood from clotting as they feed. They can also filter out excess water in the blood, concentrate on nutritious red blood cells, and have specialized enzymes in the midgut to digest the blood meal. These little dudes can also use thermal infrared to find human hosts. Since the ecosystem we're invading is going to mostly have warm-blooded animals, this is a good thing for a hybrid, as this mosquito additive means that we can suck blood, infect them, track them, rinse, and repeat. Mosquitoes include vectors of parasitic diseases like malaria and arboviral diseases like the yellow fever and dengue fever. And so once they bite, there is a decent chance that victims can become sick, weakened, and unable to do as many things. But we have to reproduce this thing fast in order for it to accomplish being invasive. Our fourth contributor is a family of insects that has a reproduction rate like none other, the aphid. This thing is renowned for its parthenogenesis, where females, without fertilization, give birth to live young. Of course they can lay eggs too, so they don't have to worry about the beetle. It allows aphids to rapidly expand their populations, especially during spring and summer, and they produce only female offspring. Well, at least in the spring and summer anyway. Another thing to note is their affinity towards weak and small plants, preventing them from growing and potentially reproducing. This is necessary for a hybrid to ravenously chew through plants before they could grow, while in grown plants, they can reproduce at an alarmingly fast rate. One thing to note is aphids also exhibit pedogenesis, basically reproduction at immature stages, as well as telescopic embryonization, where embryos within the mother's body already contain embryos of the next generation, allowing aphids, and therefore a hybrid, to reproduce at an even more rapid pace. The fifth thing we're going to add is a peculiar form of ant, the hairy-headed leaf-cutter ant. This ant is special because of its mandibles. They are blade-like and metal-laced, used to cut through leaves like butter. And so, our hybrid will be able to destroy plants even faster. Also, if any creature tries to attack our hybrid now, they will feel a lot of pain coming from the lacerations of the swarm. As well as that, leaf-cutter ants bring leaves home to feed their fungus gardens, in a unique variation of ant-fungus mutualism. This leaf-cutter ant was specifically chosen so it can cross-swarm with other hybrids like from IC1101 and one of his buddies, as it seems to be a common contributor to other locust swarms. Because of the aphid and ant count contributions, our hybrids' colonies can mutually benefit each other as they protect each other from outsider threats and maintain cleanliness in the colony. Our sixth component is something that a lot of people hate. Something that is capable of resisting nuclear radiation, the cockroach. This guy is renowned for its extreme resilience, capable of resisting extreme temperatures, survive without food for weeks, and even go without water for extended periods. This is because cockroaches can enter a state of dormancy called diet pause, slowing down their metabolism to conserve energy when food is scarce. They can also absorb water from their surroundings, including the air, and have a waxy outer layer to prevent excessive water loss. By carefully incorporating their resilient traits, we now have a hybrid that can survive extreme conditions with little difficulty, and so our swarm can simply go dormant to get through late Cretaceous climates. We are also adding the cockroach for something you might not have ever heard about: its highly developed sense of smell, crucial for navigation, finding food, and detecting mates. Their antennae, also called feelers, are the primary olfactory organs containing numerous sensory receptors that detect odors. This allows them to perceive and respond to a wide range of volatile chemicals in their environment, further adding onto the cockroach and, by default, our hybrid's resilience. Our seventh component is an egregiously toxic and hairy moth, the Lanomia obliqua. This guy is notorious for its urticating hairs, which are hollow and barbed spines that inject a potent venom when touched or stepped on. These hairs act like miniature hypodermic needles, delivering venom directly into the bloodstream, causing a range of symptoms from mild pain to severe internal bleeding, and in some cases, death. Their venom consists of anti-clotting agents, causing disseminated intravascular coagulation and a consumptive coagulopathy, which can lead to a hemorrhagic syndrome. And so, if any animal dares to touch our hybrid, they won't feel a lot of pain that has the potential to kill them. This thing also works in conjunction with the termite's ability to explode upon death, leading to what is essentially a very sticky gas attack. The 8th component is one of the toughest nuts to crack in the insect world, the diabolical ironclad beetle. This critter is known for having a remarkably tough exoskeleton made with a protein matrix called chitin, allowing it to withstand forces up to 39,000 times its body weight before its exoskeleton starts to fracture. Its super tough armor lies in the way of its 2 elytra wing covers, which meet at a suture line, acting like a jigsaw puzzle to connect and protect the insect's exoskeleton. Our hybrid's toughness won't be a one-to-one correlation, but if we carefully add this exoskeleton, it ensures that our hybrid can withstand a lot of force even from larger animals, adding onto our hybrid's resilience. And finally, the MVP of our hybrid, the short-tailed shrew of this hybrid, the hidden X Factor, the Asian Giant Hornet. Why is it the MVP, you may ask? 1. This thing is famous for being one of the most venomous insects in the world. It has an especially potent venom that contains something called mastoperin M, which are cytolytic peptides that can damage tissues by stimulating phospholipase action, in addition to its own phospholipase. The venom also contains a neurotoxin called mandaratoxin, an incredibly lethal single-chain polypeptide which can cause paralysis and tissue necrosis, killing people even if they're not allergic to it if in sufficient doses. Since our hybrid is big, a sting can release tons of venom into the bloodstream, meaning any adversary would not stand much of a chance against such a gigantic swarm, even sauropods. Asian giant hornets can also spray venom at their target's eyes, blinding them and subjecting them to more potent venom. This thing about the Asian giant hornet is that unlike bees, hornets often survive after stinging something, which means they can sting over and over and over, and so if an animal just so happens to get attacked by a swarm of gigantic locusts with giant stingers, there's not much they can do besides waiting for their inevitable death. And 2, usually Asian giant hornets aren't that aggressive, but once they perceive a threat to their nest, they will defend it aggressively, potentially stinging multiple times. They are especially dangerous for their coordinated attacks, primarily preying on honeybees, often decimating entire colonies in a few hours. We now have a gigantic insect that is not afraid to attack other insects in order to protect its colony. These traits are guided by the intelligence of these critters, with studies demonstrating their ability to learn and adapt. They can use scent marking to guide their colonies to food sources, and can also navigate complex social interactions within their colonies, not to mention their ability to adapt to changing environments, as they can forage on a variety of food sources, as well as being able to adapt to different light conditions. Our hybrid is even more resilient than ever thanks to Asian Giant Hornet, with coordinated strategies to invade and protect, rinse and repeat. With all that said and done, we now have a giant locust that can 1. Bore into tree trunks to eat, nest, and unalive forests. 2. Spread disease via stealth blood feeding, weakening apex species fast. 3. Clone itself rapidly through aphid parthenogenesis. I pronounced that as aphid before, and so that is a gross mispronunciation. 4. Farm fungi and aphids to warp the local biosphere. 5. Resist most extermination methods, being extremely durable. 6. Track food sources and prey using advanced sensory organs. 7. Display hive aggression guided by hornet-level intelligence. And 8. Unalive mid-sized animals with their stings and deter larger ones, inspiring panic with their venom. Whew! That's a mouthful. Now, with every single detail of this hybrid out of the way, let's finally show this thing.
3, 2, 1.
Meet Smineas Voleas Catastrophis, the swarming invader of doom. Or, as I like to call her, Catastrophe. Length, 1.15 feet. Wingspan, 1.5 feet. Weight, 5 pounds. Catastrophe is a true insect of a different breed, with her sole purpose being invading and destroying ecosystems with her swarm buddies. And what better way to demonstrate her ability by actually putting her to the test? Our target? The Hell Creek Formation at its prime. Unleash the swarm! Hell Creek is home to a lot of flora and fauna, including mammals as small as an alphadon, plants as peculiar as a Lyrodendrites, and dinosaurs as huge as a Tyrannosaurus rex. It was in peace as flora and fauna alike coexisted in harmony and occupied their niches in the circle of life. Until now. A portal opened and 4-axle Mach 11 flew out, hauling a large sealed carbon fiber box. Near plants full of insects, from flies to dragonflies alike, one side of the box unlatched. As it opened, thousands of gigantic locusts with mandible spines, stings, and unparalleled hive aggression swarmed out of the cage. The modified V-22 Ospreys all turned and left for the same portal they came from. The portal closed. This timeline's fate was sealed. Insects gathered to witness this moment unfold, unaware of the death that would soon follow. One by one, insect after insect gets gulped down by those locusts, which went on to occupy the habitat. In a matter of days, plants used to feed those insects were eaten and killed, with their husks serving as nest farms and pathways for the ever-growing colony. Small animals and even medium-sized ones that fed using those trees, like Pachycephalosaurus, Ornithomimus, and Anzu, were found dead beneath those trees' corpses, either by the sting alone or diseases that caused them to perish. The smell of rotting corpses attracted predators and scavengers alike to eat those herbivores. But with so much disease going on and those locusts still biting down on those animals, they quickly became weak and vulnerable. Predators were rendered unable to hunt. Meanwhile, those locusts began spreading fast. Day after day, more and more locusts took their first flight. As more and more locusts took their first flight, more and more of their prey took their last breath. The colony spread like wildfire, and before you know it, they had already occupied almost half of the ecosystem. Without resistance, Hell Creek's population dropped drastically. The putrid scent of decomposing bodies, big and small, were accompanied with those giant locusts looking for their next place to reproduce. More and more animals migrated to where the disease hadn't spread. However, land isn't unlimited, and the overcrowding of animals began causing discomfort, panic, and extra intraspecific conflict, dwindling the population even further. And even as some of the locusts died trying to protect their colony, their explosions would cause venom and other pestilent elements to spread through the air, further damaging the ecosystem. Plants were essentially replaced with fungi and larvae, spewing out more of those locusts with a hunger for blood and a collective incentive to spread. Truly a catastrophe. Eventually, herbivores ran out of plants to eat as their diet got completely occupied by the locusts, causing them to starve. And not long after, carnivores ran out of herbivores to eat, and they themselves began starving or cannibalizing each other. But even then, it was no use. Catastrophe's swarm had already won. Hell Creek, gone. All because some geneticists experimented with a super invasive insect hybrid. No one near the sheer scale of destruction that this insect swarm could unleash. It's all inevitable. One way or another, Catastrophe and her buddies would inevitably destroy the entirety of Hell Creek. Even Hell Creek at its prime did not stand a single chance. And to think it only started because someone borrowed a carbon fiber box of some planes from the forge. But there is something you can do. It will be difficult though, but anything is possible. And only you can make it such. Coming soon! So you're wondering what the Forge is, right? I mentioned it a few times. It's basically a server where people can help you craft hybrids. Obviously, you're not going to be given the way to kill Catastrophe. These guys can also connect to you all to resources faster and better. They can also maybe create out-of-the-box ideas that can help you succeed. Subscribe to Monster Forgers, they're the founder of the Forge, of course, and subscribe to Joe Andrew Mora for helping me organize the Subatomic Hybrid War competition. Also, subscribe to my channel for more paleontology and hybrid war content. It's free and you can always change your mind. Link to the Forge is down in the description and the pinned comment. So check them out if you want. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Special thanks to channel members for supporting this channel. It helps out a ton.